It honestly is very difficult to talk about because when I think about it, and I remember feeling completely helpless, hopeless, like I lost complete control of my life, like I couldn't even manage to control what was going on in my own mind. The thoughts that were taking over telling me that it was just time to end it, time to put myself out of misery, out of the constant pain that I was dealing with. Everything around the suicidal thoughts was absolutely horrifying because I wasn't in my right mind at all. I had no idea what I was capable of because while I would think about it, I would think, okay, well, I'm never going to actually do anything, right? I always had to second guess it because when you're having those kind of thoughts, you're unable to see the actual full big picture. You are unable to understand that there's anything else to life other than just the complete darkness that's going on in your mind while you're dealing with the thoughts. So really, I had no idea what I was capable of. I really didn't. I found therapy to be absolutely useless when it came to my suicidal thoughts because when I finally had the courage to open up to a therapist and explain, even though I was completely fearful that I was going to just get thrown into the, I still decided to open up to the therapist. And I'm sure I've said this already before, but I was asked, well, how would you do it? That's all that was said to me when I opened up, showed vulnerability, and had the courage to actually tell a mental health professional the truth that that's what I was dealing with, because they really legally have to ask you. I always lied and said that I didn't have those thoughts because I was afraid. It was completely out of fear for why I never told a therapist what I was dealing with in my mind to the full extent. I would explain some thoughts and a little bit about the darkness that was going on in my mind, but I never had the courage to actually say, okay, here's what's happening. I'm having these suicidal thoughts. It wasn't until the thoughts were constant, like constant, every day, pretty much all day, every day actually. And then I did open up about it and I received absolutely no help at all. All they did was they had my parents go in and they removed everything from the house for how I said I probably would go about it. And that was it. I've wrote actual suicide letters before. I can go through and talk to each person through the letter. I can explain what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling that way, why I felt like there was no solution to the problem. And when I would write it out to each person, it made me think about from their perspective of things. And guilt played a big part in everything. Not to say why I didn't go through with it. I know that guilt can sometimes feel like it's making things worse, and like I personally always felt that I would make everyone else's life easier if I wasn't in existence anymore. And when I would write these letters, it made me realize that's probably not true. And it's probably just going to put even more onto everyone else if I did go through with it. And that guilt, when you're going through that, can sometimes make things actually way worse and intensify it. Whenever I would open up about it to a family member, whoever, friends, whatever, I would always be told about all of the guilt that I should be feeling for even thinking that way, and that I would just be completely destroying everyone else if I went through with that, and being questioned about why I would want to hurt everyone else. And no one ever understood that it's not like that at all. You're just putting guilt on top of something you already can't understand. If you've never had suicidal thoughts to the extent that some people have, including myself, then you don't understand. It's more than just having a bad day and just feeling like you're ready for everything to be over. It's more than that. It's a constant, everyday feeling of just life completely dragging you down. And then it's like the anxiety and the depression just go together, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Anxiety can have you feeling like everything you've done in life up to that point has just been wrong, that you have caused more harm in people's lives than anything good. It just makes you get flashbacks to everything that has ever happened to you, whether it's bullying, whether it's just past mistakes or embarrassment, humiliation. Everything just, it seriously just comes at you all at once. And then that depression, it just weighs it down even more, and it feels like you honestly just can't take it anymore. And what people don't understand is that no one chooses to have these thoughts. No one chooses to think this way. Who would want to feel like leaving this world all the time? Who would actually choose that? Honestly, I need these people to tell me, who do they think would actually choose to feel this way? Who would choose to think like this? Who would want to feel like ending it all and leaving this world and everyone else? I want to know, who do you think chooses that? This is why this is more about, it's more than just mental health awareness, mental illness awareness. It's more than all of that, because even the people who aren't dealing with it, maybe even them more than anyone else, they just need all of this awareness to be raised, because nobody talks about it. I feel like everyone is honestly afraid to talk about it to an extent, because they're afraid that it will trigger them to feel how they may have felt in the past, or that it might somehow make people feel like it's justifiable. And I need everyone to understand, suicide is absolutely never, ever, ever the answer, ever. Believe me, I am absolutely not saying that there is any justifiable reason that exists to actually take your own life. That is not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it's justifiable to have the thoughts, not the actions. It is absolutely justifiable to have those thoughts, because I, of course, had them. So I understand, well, looking back now, not then, but looking back now, I understand why I felt that way. I understand why I felt like nothing could possibly ever become good in life. Nothing just... I understand why the thoughts can be justifiable. But taking your life is absolutely never the answer, ever. And I know how annoying this is about to sound if you're dealing with it, because I could not stand when people would tell me, like, look at me, life does get better, I'm proof. Sorry, but I'm about to say it. Life gets better. You have to accept that. I know that when you're going through it, you just refuse to accept the fact that anything could ever possibly get better. But it's very important to realize, right now, if you're experiencing these thoughts, or if someone you know is experiencing the thoughts, whatever it may be, you are at your lowest. It can't get worse than wanting to take your own life. You are at your lowest. Right now, thinking those thoughts, that is your lowest point. What does it mean if you're at your lowest point? It means you can't go any lower. The only thing you can do is go that direction. I'm serious. I cannot even begin to tell you how annoying I thought that was when people would tell me, life gets better. It really does. Oh, I hated it so much. So instead of me telling you how much better life is going to be, I'm going to need you to stick around and find out for yourself.